Hours of this morning. Chris Weston from IG Markets in Melbourne joins us, having kept a close watch on developments. An interesting development, Chris, in regards to market reaction today. A relief rally, but still, I suppose, some uncertainty over a potential coalition government. How will it look? Will they indeed get one?
Well, I mean, PASOK have basically said that they're willing to negotiate, which is a good step at the moment. I think what's the most positive situation here is that Syriza haven't got enough votes, and they didn't get enough votes to get the extra 50 seats, and that would have been a big source of uncertainty today. But PASOK, I mean, what is it actually going to look like? Are they actually just going to give their confidence to the government, or actually are they going to look to take a parliamentary seat? I think is going to be the genetic makeup of the government, and having actually a stable government going forward is actually something that the market really wants to see as well. So people are going to be looking at negotiations. Therefore, headlines going into the back end of the day will be a driving force of risk assets, which, like you say, have seen some decent relief. I think what's also interesting today is, first thing, once we got this announcement that the Syriza had basically conceded, a huge move up in the euro, for example, up to 127.33, Aussie dollar pushing up nicely as well. US futures have opened with a bang. Generally, what you see in that sort of size is the people who have been positioned short are going to get stopped out. There's probably a lot of margin calls coming through as well. But I think what's happened is we haven't really seen a massive pullback from that side of things. I mean, euro's trading about 15 pips from the high. The Aussie's not trading a million miles from the highs it's made on the initial open. So it seems to be reasonably well supported at the moment. You get that sort of half an hour of people looking to with that spike up, and then sometimes it'll come back a little bit. But it seems to be supported at the moment, and that's a bit of a positive. But you're right. I mean, this risk rally is being contained, because even if we do get a coalition government being put together, which is a positive for risk assets, we then need to work out, is there going to be a renegotiation of the bailouts, of the adjustment programme? Comments that are just coming through on the ECAF Marini website from the IMF, from Lagarde, has suggested that they are open to negotiations. Again, that's another good risk asset positive, because we know with an unemployment rate of 22% in Greece, they've got a GDP number that's down sort of 7 or 8% or so. The terms that are in place at the moment, it just cannot go on forever. The new government that needs to come in needs to identify $11 billion of savings straight away. Again, that's just going to cripple their economy even more. So we need to see them coming out, the EU and the IMF and the ECB coming out and saying, look, we're prepared to negotiate, despite Merkel saying that she's not keen to do it. So the economy's not out of the woods in any shape or form. Then we need to start worrying about what's happening in Spain, which is still a big issue. They're raising bonds this week. So look, I think a good positive start to the week.
Just staying with Greece, though, I mean, in terms of them being able to form this coalition government, they have 3 days, no doubt. They get off they start trying to get that going in earnest tomorrow morning their time. But my understanding, PASOK have said that they will only go into a coalition government with New Democracy if Syriza is part of that. And Syriza have said that they're not going to be part of any coalition government that favours a pro-austerity stance.
I haven't heard that one. I heard that they were prepared to negotiate, and they were prepared to talk to the government. I believe that Syriza said that they weren't prepared to be anything to do with New Democracy in any shape or form, or any kind of pro-bailout. I just thought that I'd seen on the headlines that they were keen to negotiate with New Democracy, but there was probably some sort of austerity changes that they needed to go through. So I think I'll have to look at it in a bit more depth. My understanding was that PASOK were keen to talk to New Democracy. They just wanted to see some sort of changes come through, and they were, whether it was going to be a confidence vote that was going to come down, or whether it was going to be a parliamentary seat, was my understanding. I might be wrong, but
well, I guess this is all part of the uncertainty, I suppose, and different reports that have really sort of led to the volatility and uncertainty around this whole situation. Citi have come out, and they're keeping their percentage, their chance of Greece leaving the common currency unchanged. They've still got it at a 50 and 75% over the next 12 to 18 months.
Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of models which get built in. I mean, if you look at the in-street at the moment and the probabilities that they've got, there's still a 54% probability that a country's going to leave by the end of 2013, about a 40% by the end of this fiscal year as well. So, I mean, what you've got to see is, okay, fine, we're going to have a new government in place. what happens then? It's clear that the austerity measures that are in place are killing their economy, and can they continue on at those levels? That's the question. Are they ever going to be allowed back into the bond market to fund their fiscal deficit? Probably not with the yields that they are at the moment. There's probably a good chance that if they go on the way, there's probably going to be further write-downs to private debt holders. The economy at the moment, there needs to be some growth coming through, and clearly they just can't go on the way they're going at the moment. There has to be a huge change of what's going on. That's why these investment banks are saying longer term, it's just unsustainable, the model we're on, despite whatever government's coming in. New Democracy will continue to try and push these austerity measures, which will kill their economy. They're completely uncompetitive. It just doesn't work longer term, and that's why we're not going to get a managed Greek exit anytime soon. But they're saying perhaps further down the line, within 12 months, or perhaps into end of 2013.
Indeed. Chris, look, still plenty of questions unanswered, I suppose, in terms of the outlook for Greece. But for now, I've got to leave it there. Thanks very much.